Welcome everyone to another video. In this video, we will continue our CSS discussion. So, if you remember in the last chapter, we discussed CSS basics. We covered a couple of color systems, color schemes. So today we will continue the CSS properties and we will discuss a couple of text properties. So after today's lecture, we will be done with the first three levels of CSS. So we will have good understanding of CSS. We will know how we can change the colors, change the background colors, change the foreground colors, etc., etc. So today we will see how we can control the size of the images, icons, or the text, how we can change the font styles, etc. So let's get started with the first agenda item. A very important thing is absolute unit. Absolute unit means like absolute, what sort of absolute value we can assign to a object, a element that you're going to use in your website. For example, let's say if you want to use images, and if you see in an image, images on the digital screen are made of these small boxes. These boxes are called pictured element, or short form is pixels. So the pixels, if you see the pixels, they contain only one color. And if you see, there are bunch of pixels right here, and it can form a whole image. So whatever you guys see on your computer screen, digital screen, is made of pixel. And these pixels are going to be very helpful for us in order to design a picture, in order to design, for example, a text and all that. So benefit of using these pixels, because we will use this pixel to define the size of a object. So the benefit or major advantage of these are that of the pixel is these are very precise. Like precise mean, for example, we can decide like what would be the exact size of a element or a picture is going to be. We use it in graphics and web design very commonly, and all the browsers that do understand all these pixels. We're going to see how we can use that. The only problem with these absolute units are, for example, the inconsistency between your units and, for example, if you guys provide any sort of, let's say if you guys, just give me 1 second. Let's say if you have a high definition camera. So if you guys a high definition camera, and on your high definition camera, sorry, I think my camera was disabled. So for example, in a high definition camera, the problem could be if you have a high definition picture, or for example, high definition video, and you have provided some absolute unit pixels, but that particular picture might have a different pixel requirement to get displayed, then there would be a problem. So in order to tackle those problem, we use a couple of other arguments. We will discuss that in a bit. So the one of the most important property that we're going to see practically today is the height and width. So we can use height and width property in order to control the size of boxes, text, or etc., etc. We're going to see that here. How in this example, if you see, I have created one class, and the class is box. You guys know that what class is and what ID is. Class is like multiple elements can belong to one class, and they can have similar property. For example, all of you guys, one class, you guys are taking web technology course, but everybody has a different ID, different names, right? So in a class, in this class, everybody's taking same notes, same lectures. So that is a class. So exactly, we got different IDs, box 1, box 2, box 3, and they have different names, but they belong to same class. So for that particular class, we created a small box, and that particular box will have height 40 pixel and 40 pixel at the width. And then there would be a background color. Whenever you put a background color, what happens? You see a background will appear like highlighted sort of thing. But those highlight will have this height and width, because they belong to a specific class now. And you know that how we can select the elements of the ID elements by putting a pound sign. All right. Let's put it. Let's do it and then control the height and width. Let's see what will happen here. So for example, let's say if we go up here, and let me just put a Amit create the web page, and let's keep it simple. Let's make it super simple. And the title, let remove the title as well. So first is without any styling. All right. So for example, you don't have to put div. I mean, if you see in this example, we use a div tag, right? It's not mandatory that you have to use div. We can use heading tag, paragraph, whatever you like to do. Let's use heading tag. So for example, if I use a heading tag, heading is, let's say this is box 1. And let me copy this. All right. So we got box 1, box 2, box 3. So we got 3 boxes. It's just a simple heading. Let's go back here and see how it looks. So in order to see it, I'm going to go back here, open the like servo. So we got 3 headings now. Now let's make the boxes. How can we make the boxes? First of all, let's say if I want to make the box here, bunch of ways. One is we can use internal arguments. If you remember in the last class, we discussed that we can directly put the inline styling. Second option is we can put internal styling, right? We can put a style tag here and we can put the styling right here. Or you can create a external CSS file. So I'm going to use the internal one. So how we can use internal one? So in order to do it, let's make it like a ID. All right. So for example, this is going to be, let me make it a ID, and let's say make it, for example, this is box 1. Oops, sorry. This ID is equal to box 2. You don't have to do that, but it's better. I mean, we can, if you want, we can directly make it. Let me show you guys. And this is again from the last concept. In the style, for example, if I put H1, and let's say put background color, and let's say if I define a background color here. So this is basically called element selector, where the overall heading element will get selected. Now let's say if I put aqua color, all the heading one will become aqua color. Let's see. You guys saw that? All right. But what I want is, I want this one to become different, this one become different, this one become different. There are a bunch of ways to do it. We have already discussed that. But one of the easiest way to do it, if I want to do it, if I would do it, I can do here. Let's say if I make it ID, ID equal to, let's say this is box 1. This is, for example, ID, box 2. This is, for example, ID, and I'm going to make it box 3. So I make it box 3 now. I just want to make sure I'm recording this session or not. Where's my Zoom? Yeah, we are recording. Yeah, recording is perfect. Perfect. All right, so we got here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of applying the element selector, I'm going to put here pound, and let's say ID. Now pound ID, and which ID? It's going to be box 1. So the box 1 will get this color. And let's say box 2, we're going to assign a different color to box 2. Let's assign red color, for example. This is going to be box 2. And now the box 3, we do have box 3. I want to assign another color to box 3. Let's apply green yellow, something like that. Now let's see how they look. You guys see that? So we got different colors, box 1, box 2, box 3, right? This is the advantage of applying the ID. So we can individually select and apply different sort of colors rather than using, the element selector of heading 1. Now what I want is, I want to control the size of these background. If you guys see right now, the background is going out of, by completing the whole. I just want to control this background size. So how can we do that? In order to do it, we can do one thing, and that's the width, height and width. So that is basically what we were talking about. This is basically height and width property. So for height and width, we can control over the background color, for the background color, height and width. How we can do that? So in order to do it, the technique that they have used, I mean, you can apply individually, or the better is, I mean, individually what I can do is, I can apply the height and width here. Let's say I can put here height, let's say 50 pixels. All right. And then width, 50 pixels. All right. Now what will happen? Height and width, 50 pixels. Now what will happen? This is how, oh, sorry about that. I think we need to make it a little longer than that. Mm, let's see. Let's see for now. Let's make it, width is going to be a little bigger than that. Let's make it 100. So yeah, it's still not better, but anyway. So you guys, you got it. So I just make a small box here, but I need to do that same for this, same for this. Rather than doing this, if you look into this example, we created a class. This is the advantage of class. Now, I believe you guys got the idea why ID is important, why classes are important. Now, what is the advantage of this class? What I can do is, rather than doing this, I can remove this and I can declare a class here. And let's say class, I can make a new class. Let's say class name is box. Another class here, let's say this is class, and that's also the same box class. Another class, and let's say box class. So we made a new class and we named it box class here. What is the advantage? Now, if you want to apply the class, I will put here box. So period box. So box is the class name. Whenever you apply or you declare a class, we put a period. And here I can put height, and height is equal to, let's say, 50 pixel, and width equal to, for example, 50 pixels. Let's see how if it looks better. 50 pixels. Now let's see how it looks. Let's make it 80 for the both of them. 80, 80, 80. Now, if you guys see, we got three boxes: box one, box two, box three. Now, why it happened? Because we made a class here. If you guys see, we made a class here, box class, and all these IDs belong to this particular box class. So this is the way how you guys control the height and width of the background colors. So that's how we can control the height and width. This is the another property of CSS. Benefit is, you guys saw that height and width of elements can be controlled. You can also, use as a unit of pixel. We have already saw that. You can also define max and min values of the boxes as well. And again, it's not only the heading that we can use. We can also use div class as well. I mean, we use heading, so but anyway, we can use also the div as well. So I hope everybody got the idea. Let's move on to the next one. Next is the background image. Background images, let's say you want to apply, instead of the colors, you want to add a background image on your web page. You can do that. We can fade that image. There are a bunch of things that we can do. But whenever you add a background image, because you can put your data inside that image, instead of color having a background, you can do that. So, for example, if you want a background image can be added by using styling. Syntax is background image, and then you can define the URL path. URL path, for example, if the image is on a third-party website, if it is running on the local server, you just have to define the name or give the proper path. Problem is that when you define the image, it can repeat itself. We'll see that why it can repeat itself. So in order to avoid repetition, we'll see that how we can do it. There are positioning thing. We'll see that how you can position in the specific element. Size control, why it is important, we'll see that. And then the shorthand as well. We'll see all these things practically. So let me go back here. Now what I'm going to do is, let me clear all these things. All right. Now what I'm going to do is, I just want an image. So for example, I want a background image, and that particular background image is going to be in my on the web page. Let's say this is going to be icon. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a div tag. Again, it's not mandatory, but let's put a div tag, and let's say ID equal to, and you know what? Let me just show you one thing. If you guys just put £, it will create a ID for you. I mean, you guys saw that. Just put and let me make it icon. So this is going to be, just put a pound, and it's going to create an ID for you. Now, I have created an ID here. And for this particular ID, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to actually have to call this ID. Let's say I've created an ID. So icon, this is the icon is a class icon. And let's say in that, let me put a height. Height is 50 pixels. And then width is 50 pixel again, 50 pixels. And now define the URL. So you just have to type the URL of your image, whatever the URL of the image is going to be. So I am going to put my image, background image, and then URL. And here in our example, in the URL, let's say I want to taste this. Let's try this one, test.png. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put here test. Again, please make sure it is in the same directory where your index.html file is on your VS Code. Then you will see that. So it is right here, background image. It should show up. Let's see how it looks on the web page. You guys saw that something appeared, but not the actual background image. That was the image. Cyber. So problem is orientation might not be good. So, but if you guys see down here, orientation is not good here. I mean, right now it requires 500 by 500 pixels, but we provided here only 50 by 50. That's why it couldn't fit. If I put 500 by 500, let's see how the web page looks like. You guys will see it. It's going to show up. But for example, the problem is I want to save the space. I don't want to consume the whole thing, 50 by 50. So if I put 50 by 50, you see some of the area is missing. It is just showing me 50 by 50, pixel by 50 area. Like, let me repeat. If I make it, because this image require 500, so it is basically showing me this particular area only. It's not showing me the whole area. So how to fix that? We're going to actually use the size control. Now we're going to go for size control. Now in size control, it's going to manipulate the image size and it will make it as the size as you want. So what we need to do? We need to add one more parameter here, which is called background size. So in background size, there are a bunch of options it's going to give you. So one of the options is contain. If you pick contain, then what will happen? It's going to compress the image and make it 50 by 50. You saw that everything is fit now, made it 50 by 50. Now, if I increase the height and width automatically and keep the contain, let's say if I make it now 100 by 50, something like that. You guys saw that what happened? It started repeating itself. So basically, if I increase the height, if I increasing the height, it is repeating itself. Let's say if I make it, for example, let's go back here. Let's make it 300. You guys saw that what happened? It started repeating itself because it is showing the pixels. I mean, it is containing in that. So how can we avoid this problem? If I just want to keep increasing the height and not the width, let's increase the width as well. Make it 300. So, and again, back into that. But let's say, I mean, height and width got adjusted, but let's say it is 30. You guys saw that what happened? It is basically continuously increasing in that order. In order to fix this problem, if you just want it compressed, but you don't want to repeat, so here we can use background repeat. All right. So background repeat, if I put here no repeat, then you will see here it's not going to repeat. It's going to stay there. So this is basically what the background repetition is. It controls the image repetition using the background repeat, right? Now, for example, if you want the image, adjust the image position in the center. So in the center of that particular, it's not basically centralized on the whole page, central in that particular tag. So let's say if I want to put that, so background position. So there are a bunch of areas where you can adjust the position, inherent, initial, left, right. Let's say if I put it on the right side. You see that? It's going to, on that right side of the element, not the page right side. And if I make it center, it was already on the center, I guess, by default, right on the center. Center, yeah, it's a little bit, because the size is not great, so that's why it is not basically giving us the good option here. So let me make it 200, 200. All right, and let's say, so this is basically the centralized and on that particular level. So I hope you got the idea how we can play with the image size. All right. So rest we will see that in next class, in our class. So shorthand, we'll talk about the shorthand thing. I'll show you practically in our lab. Like all these things that we have done here, we can put it together right down inside one particular tag. We'll see that in our lab. All right, the visibility. Visibility is I mean, the thing is, like, you can make any sort of object to visible, or it can be hidden. I mean, it's up to you, whatever you want. So this particular thing, we use this typically in we typically use it for whenever we use some sort of hyperlinks and those sort of things. When we use this particular property. But if you want to see how we can apply it, for example, let's go back here. So for example, let me make a simple box layer again. Let me make a simple box here. So let's make ID icon. Let's make a box here. So for example, icon, let's make an icon as a box. And let's make two, of course. We need to make two, in fact. And let's say this is box one. This is box two. And this is icon two, for example, the name. And let's say I'm using here icon. And for this icon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use and you can also use the class as well, class box. So we can apply class box. All right. So icon, so we can apply here height and width will control with the box. Let's say background color. And for this background color, let's use aqua color. And for icon one, I mean, because this is what I have, icon two. For icon two, I can use here maybe red color. All right. And then I need to create a class, and class is box. So box is a class. Here I can define height equal to, height is, let's say 50. Let's use 50 pixel for height. For width, I'm going to use 50 pixel as well. All right. So 50 pixel height, 50 for width. Both of the boxes will be constructed something like this. All right. So we got box one, box two, something like that is created. Now what I want is, I want to, for example, make this particular box to be gone. So if you want to make it disappear, so what I'm going to do is I want to put here visibility. So if you see visibility, now for visibility, it will give you plenty of options. Let's say if I make it hidden. If you make it hidden, you will see that that box is gone. It doesn't mean that the box is deleted. Server will send the box, but box doesn't show up here. So you will see that box is gone here. So this is basically what the simple visibility feature is. You can make it visible. You can make it hidden. So that's how we can use it. So that's all about CSS properties. We have discussed the colors, how to use the colors, how to control the height and width, and all that thing. So we will be working on the lab where we're going to cover all these things of the task number one, colors. And let's move on to the part two, where we will discuss the text properties. Text properties are going to be very, very easy. There we'll see that how we can do the alignment of the text, how we can decor, transformation, line height, font properties, icon, family, etc., etc. It's very easy, very, very easy and very fun to work on. Let's start with the text align property. For the text align property, let me remove everything here. And let's clear this as well. And let's move on here. So text align property. For text alignment property, what we can use is, if you guys see here, I mean, it's not mandatory that you have to use the boxes, but boxes are going to show you better stuff. So that's why we can use it, but it's not required that. We'll see that. So alignment, very simple. You can center align it, you can left align it, or you can right align it. Simple text align, and that's it. Let's see how we can do it. Let's make it from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I can pass this argument directly, or you can put it internally. Let me show you. For example, if I have a heading one, let me put a tag heading one. Let's say this is text. This is text, for example. Now, for example, if we go back here, you're going to see right here. Now, for example, I want to center align the text. Let's see if we can do that. So you can put it here, text. You can directly put it here, text minus align. And how you can text align it? Text align, for example, let's say center, semicolon. So let's see how it looks. I'm missing with something here. My bad. I need to put here style, and then text minus align, and then let's say center. So if you put text align center, this text is going to be right in the center. All right. This is basically the way how we pass the argument inline. All right. So for example, if I make it right align, it's going to be right aligned. All right. So this is basically one of the way to do that. The way how we did it right here, I can show you that. I mean, this is just a little fancy, but the technique is the same. So for example, let's say if I go back here, let me remove this. So for example, what I have done here is exactly the same, the box strategy. For example, heading one, let's put ID equal to, let's say this is going to be box one, and this is text. All right. And you can control the height and width. Let's say I will put a class here. Class is equal to, just like the same thing. Box is the class. And let's say I'm going to copy this, and you can make it box two, for example. All right. The box category. And here, same way, box height. And let's say height is going to be 50 pixel. And let's say width is, for example, 80 pixel. I think 80 was the right pixel last time we did. 80 pixel. And then you can put the colors, for example, for box one, because this is my ID box one. For box one, what I'm going to do is uh, background color. Let's pick aqua color. All right. For box two, let's try maybe coral color. Let's try it. All right. Now, the same thing again. I mean, the main idea is this to see you guys. This is the text is also showing up here. We need to get rid of that because text is too big. By the way, you guys saw that it is overwritten. So I'm gonna fix that. This menu. This is menu. Sorry about that, menu. Because that's what it was going out of the box. So that's the reason, because text is gonna fit in the box. Now this is like too big text to show you guys the justification. So let me make it M, and that's, let's say, K, something like that. Okay, M and K. So if you guys want to central align this, let's say I want to central align this, you just have to do here, go up here, text align, and let's make it, for example, center. So you're going to see that it's central align. Got it? So this is basically how you can central align the text and right line, and you can justify. These are basically the three options, and it will basically control the text or align the text horizontally. Next is the text decoration property. Now, what is text decoration property? The same way how we done it previously, but here the argument is text minus decoration, and it's going to also give you underline, overline, line through. Underline, you guys know that underline, overline is above that, and over the line, it's basically line through is over that. Where typically we use it, sometime we use it, for example, if there is a link, hyperlink, you put the hyperlink, and you don't want that underline to show up. Then we use the text decoration, and we put the text decoration none. We'll see that how we can do it. So for example, let's go up right here. Let's keep it simple rather than doing this. Let me make it simple. I mean, I hope you guys got it how to do it, but let's keep it simple. So for example, I have a heading one, and heading one is, let's say, testing, right? For testing. So this is the heading one. So what I want is, you know how to change the background color and all that. So for example, if you want to make it ID way, we can do that. Otherwise, I can directly put it right here. But let's make it ID because let's keep it consistent. Let's say make it test. Test is the ID. So I'm going to put here test as the ID. And what we're going to do here is we are going to actually apply text decor. So text, and if you see decoration, so they're going to give you plenty of option on text decoration. What do you want? So for example, text decoration, let's say I want to try underline. So text decoration, underline, testing will get the underlined. All right. Now, for example, if we change it to text decoration, Let's try a dotted line. Let's see how it looks. Oh, dotted line will not show up unless you apply something, right? So it's like a next element to that. So the text, okay, overline, it's going to be overline. And similarly, the line through. So the line through, that's how the line through. It's the same thing that pretty much we have already covered with the HTML, but this is basically how you can use by using CSS. For hyperlink, it is very important. For hyperlink, let's say, let's try that for hyperlink. So for hyperlink, let's say, if I put a link here, then let me go back here. So let's put for hyperlink, let's say, if I put a anchor tag, and for anchor tag, for example, if you guys put the pound sign, it means self-replicating, self-citing, right? Let's say link. This is a link. Now, for example, if I don't, no, hyperlink, testing, test link. All right, so test link. So for example, if you guys see here, you see there's an underline. If I click it, it's going to be right, self-replicate. But you see there's an underline. So if you want to get rid of that underlining thing here, so here you can put the styling. And what type of styling you can put in here? You can put this styling here. This one, right? Style the text decoration. You can make it again, just like previously, we can make an ID, but we can make it like styling here. Let me just try here. So style. So I'm going to put here style, and here text decoration, and here for text decoration, let's see if I pick none. So what will happen? This test link will have no underline. So this is the main advantage, or the main area where we typically use this text line. Like we just, if you don't want the underline under the hyperlink. One more property of the test is it's called styling. For example, if you have applied the underline, so you can pick multiple different styling of underline. Let me show you guys. So for example, let's go back here. Let me remove this. This is the testing here. So for example, in the testing, what I want is after you apply, let's say, let me make it underline, right? This is the underline test. So let's go back here. Test is underlined. So for example, I want to make it fancy. So if you apply the underlining, next, let's say you want to apply, so text decorations, and let's say you want to apply double line effect. So, oh my God, let's test it out. What happened here? Let me see. Oh, my bad. Here I need to put a style. So this is what I forgot. So text decoration, and then you need to put style double. So now let's go back here. You see double line. Now similarly, for example, if you want to change it to wavy effect, so let's see, it became the wavy effect. All right. So this is basically how you can change the decoration styling. So that was basically the text decoration styling. So just you have to put a style. Once you apply that decoration, then you can change the styling accordingly. Then the colors. For example, let's say decoration. This was basically the style, and then you can change the different colors of that as well. So let's try that. For example, if I put here color instead, color. Let's remove this. So color. So let's say you apply a blue color. So once you did that, so you will see this will apply. This will become a blue color. And again, you can also change the styling with that as well. So for example, if I want a style, so text decoration style, and let's apply wavy, and then the color blue. So that is wavy blue color. So it's like if you want to apply a different, let's say if I want to add one more. So for example, let's create one more. So let's say heading 1 ID is equal to test 2, and this is going to be test 1, 2, 3, 4, something like this. And let's say I want to apply similar styling to test 2. But this time, this is going to be not wavy. This is double line, and color is going to be For example, caddet blue. So let's see how it looks. All right. So I hope you guys got the idea how we can change or apply the styling. This is the text decoration color property. Now, next is very important, which is called text transform property. So the text transform property is where we can apply uppercase, lowercase, capitalize, or whatever the effect you want. Right. This is again, they have used the IDs. You can apply individually as well, but it is better if you apply the IDs way. So let's see how we can do that. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these. Let's remove it. Let me remove this as well. All right, so we have two texts here. So what I'm going to do is I want to apply this text. I want to make it uppercase, for example. So what I'm going to do is I will put it down here. This is going to be test. And let's say what I want is text, you see, transform. So text transform, what do you want? Let's say I want to make it uppercase. So if you pick uppercase, all the text, this will become uppercase, right? And for example, for text 2, I want to make it lowercase is already there, so we can make it capitalize. So if you want to make it capitalize, so the first letter will become capitalize. So text, and it did not make it capitalize because it is, oh, my bad, text 2, sorry, text 2. So it become capitalize, right? This is uppercase, capitalize. So this is the way how you can use the text transform property. Then the line height, it is also a very, very important property. In line height, you can control over the spacing between the lines. Spacing between the lines, you can control over it, and it can make your, I mean, it will basically show how much above and below there would be a spacing between the line height is. Let's see, let's try that. So let me make it simple, even more simpler than that. So let me make a paragraph. So for the paragraph, lorem. All right, so just put lorem here. This is the first paragraph. Another paragraph. So I got two paragraphs. All right, something like this. And now what I want is, let's make a lorem. Yeah, this is lorem 50. All right. This is, make it, let's say 70. All right. So this is basically what my paragraphs look like, something like this. But between the paragraph, above the line, because these are the difference. I mean, these are because I put different paragraph. That's why you see the spaces. But between the lines of these individual paragraph, how you can control over the spaces. So what we can do is, in order to do it, what we need to do is, I'll just go back here. Let me make it a ID. Let's say this is ID equal to, for example, P1. That's P1. And this is, for example, ID equal to, let's say that's P2. So when I call them here, found P1. And for P1, what I'm going to do is, let's say line. So you'll see the line height. So line height, let me make it, for example, 20 pixels. So 20 pixel, absolute value. And for second one, so for para 2, line height, I want to make it, for example, let's make it 5 pixel. Let's see what happens. You see what happens? So for this one, because we did not pick good spaces, these are merging onto each other. But you don't see the 30 here. Let's make it better. Let's make it 50. Let's see how it looks now. You guys see here 50, and this is basically where we had the bad one. So let's make it, for example, 100. Now you're going to see how wider these are. So this is basically what the line spaces are, how you can control the line spaces. Font property, very, very important. Font property. It's, by the way, this is like the simple font styles that we can use. The font sizes, of course, this is the font property, but simple one is the font size, where you can define the font size simply by your own. It's like an absolute font property. Let me show you guys. Let's go back here and let's make it, remove these, and I'm gonna make it font size. So let's make it font size. So font size, you can make it larger, big, extra large. I mean, if you want to try that, you can try these. Let's see how it looks, right? So, but again, you can also put a specific or a absolute value, which is, let's say, 50 pixel. Let's see how it's going to look. And we're going to use the same one for the second one. And let's make it 70. So now if you guys see here, this is basically the font size that we have controlled. This is the 50, that's the 70, right? So this is basically the way how we can control over the font size. Very simple property, font size. Next is the font weight. What is the weight? Weight is basically, like, if you remember in HTML, we have used the bold tag. But here you can use the font weight and you can control over the weight. And weight will vary from anywhere from 100 to 900. Thickness of the weight. So let me show you guys. So instead of this, let's say if we try font weight. And here, weight. But font weight cannot be defined in pixel. Let's say anywhere from 100 to 900. So let's say 300. And let's say, let me make it 900. Let's see how it looks. Right? So this is like a thickest one. And this is the 100, the minimum one. 300, of course. Let's make it 600. So this is just how you can control over the font, the width in fact. The next is the font style. So by default, these are these are the generic style which are already exist. The font style, italic style, like italic, oblique. This is this like tilted and normal. We can try that. So let's say if you want to apply a style here, let's see. Font style. So you see, these are the pre-default style. Let's say make it italic. Same goes for this. Let's try here. Style, and let's make it oblique. It will look similar, by the way, right? Similar. This is the font style, how you can change it. But the actual font styles, which we're going to see it, font family. Now, these font family is basically where you can define, it's just like a calligraphy of the fonts. You can actually use different family of the fonts, like different sort of fonts. You can make your own fonts. But the biggest problem is, let's say if I create my own font, how web browser will get to know that? Like I have used a specific sort of fonts. So if browser is unable to do it, browser is going to mess up with it. It's going to use the generic fonts. So these fonts, they actually, we can use, there are a bunch of different options. I'll show you a couple of options here. But whenever we put the new sort of fonts, so we need to provide the fallback mechanism. Fallback mechanism means if the primary font, the one which you provided, if it doesn't work on the browser, then you can use the fallback. Like if it doesn't work, use this one. Web safe fonts, these are some of the fonts which all the browser this support. We'll see that. Generic font is if none of them is worked, the generic fonts are basically the Arial font and simple font. They're gonna 100% work. That's the last resort. How can we use them? Let me show you. So this is basically one of the example. I'm going to show you how exactly it works. And I have created, if you guys see down here, I have created a class ID just like the same. And for this class, this is the Arial. Arial is the font that I want. And this is the fallback. If it doesn't work, then this one. So these are the fallbacks that you have provided. And these are the links how you can get those vertical fonts. Let me show you how we can get the fonts and how we can apply the fonts in a Word. Let's see. For example, let me go back here and how we can apply the fonts. Let's see that. All right. So what I'm going to do is let's open, let's say Google Fonts. Google also offers free fonts. If you go to Google Fonts and let's go to, for example, whatever the font that you want on Google. So let's say, for example, I want this font. Let's say that's the font that you want. So let's say get the font. And let's say if all you need to do is copy this. Once you copy it, you're going to go back to this and this is going to paste under the head before the style tag. Once you put it in, then after that, you need this. Let's say the dancing script, just the basic dancing script, copy this. Once you copy it, you're going to put it here in the style tag and, oh my bad. So I just copied the same thing. So you're going to copy this. Let me try this one first. Let's say just copy this and you're going to go back here, paste here. Once you paste here, you need to fix this. So this is going to be fixed with your ID. In my ID is P1, ID is P1. So I'm going to put here P1. So here what it is, the bit count grid double link. If it does falls out, then the system UI. And you can also provide something else. If it falls out, you can provide here Arial, right? So for example, Arial or all that. For example, if this falls out. If we go back here and you guys see here, it did work for us. So whatever the font you want, you just have to copy and paste that. So you can also get the icons from Google, like whatever the icon from Google that you need, you can download this icon, or you can also put a link and put the styling here. It's the same thing. I'm going to show you that, how you can use that. So we'll see that styling of icon and all that stuff. I hope everybody understood it. So this is basically how you can use the font family. You can use the font family. Last is the icon using the fonts. So icon using the fonts, there are a bunch of ways you guys can do it. One of the way is you can directly use the way how we are using it uh, by using, for example, the Google font. I'm going to show you that, how Google fonts typically looks like. So for icon, it's going to be very, very easy. For icon, we can use Google font or we can use fontawesome.com. Fontawesome.com is like where you just have to create your account, free account, and you can use plenty of different great fonts. How can we use it? Very, very simple. It's just simple copy and pasting thing. So for example, let me create a commit here. All right, so let me delete everything from here. So let's say I want the font from Google, first of all. Let me show you guys. So for example, let's say from Google, let's say you want a specific font, go to icon, and whatever the icon you want, for example, download, whatever the icon, it does have all the basic icons right here. So let's say you want an icon, let's say, for example, something like this. You want this one. So first step is you can download it and you can use that image, or you can copy the code. Like once you copy the code, this code is going to go in the head. After that, you're going to add a style. So in the style tag, again, style, as you know, it is in the head. You just add the style. Once you add the style, now you're going to go in the body. So you have added a style and you see they have created a class. That's the name of the class. So for this particular class, you need to get the code for the class as well. How you can insert it. So we need that. This is going to be right here. This is the class. You're going to go back here and here in the body, you're going to put it in. Now you on your website, if you go back here, you will see this particular tab here. If you want to increase it, decrease it, you want to make it big, small, whatever, all we need to do is we just have to add font size. And let's say I want to make it 300 pixels. All right, so 300 pixels. Let's see how it looks. It's going to be a big better, all right? So this is the way how you can pick any of the font from here, and you just have to copy the code from here. Another way to do is it's the one which we have been talking about, and that's basically the fontawesome.com. So fontawesome.com, you just have to make your account. When you make a simple account, let's say, and then create a kit. So for example, add a new kit. So you're going to click add a new kit. I'm going to pick the simple free one. Don't pick the pro one. Next. And this one, and then hit next. So color, let me pick this color, check out. So go back here. This is like simple. Next, we're going to keep it easiest. All right. That's your free kit. Once you got a free kit, check out. This is like, let me see. No. I don't want to play anything, right? So I want to fix that thing here. Yeah, I think I already have a kit. So your kits. All right. So set up one line of code. All right. So you just have to create one kit. I already have created a kit. So that's why my script is already up there. So for example, I want to use any sort of free icons from here. So I need to put this JavaScript this particular JavaScript on my script and on my in my code, and then it can work out for me. So let me quickly show you how we can do that. So all we need to do is, yeah, this is JavaScript. I'm gonna copy this JavaScript, and just like you put the JavaScript here, so we're gonna put the JavaScript here instead of this. I'm gonna put this JavaScript. I'm gonna clear from the styling, and this is also gonna clear. So let's say I want, let me go to the icons and let me search for the icons. Let's go back here on, let's hit search button. Oh, there's a search button. Let me try here. LinkedIn, let's say simple. LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn. All right, so I got this one. So for LinkedIn, I got my script. So all you need to do is you just have to copy this. Click on it, it will get copied. Then paste it here. So once you put it down here, link is already up there. Now let me show you how it's gonna look like. Now if we go back here, you see the LinkedIn icon is showing up here. Now, for example, if you wanna increase the size of your icon, you can do, there are a bunch of things that I can do. One is you can increase the size from here, or you can make it a class. So you can make it, for example, you can make it an ID as well. So if you want to make it an ID, then you can use that. So easiest way to do it, I can actually create, I can increase the font size here. So I want to make a style, I want to make a class here. This is going to be, this is already a class. Let's say ID equal to, let's say test. This is a test now. And I'm going to actually test. And for example, I want to increase the font size. So font size, let's say, let's make it 40 pixels. Let's try with 40 pixels. So you see this font size has been increased. If you want to increase further, I can make it, let's say 400 to make it whether it's working or not. So this is how you can use the font size icon of the font size. So we have used a couple of the font sizes. So today we have learned the text align property, text decoration, transform, hide,